Hey guys there, KickOutMan at Riot, bringing you patch 14.4, our fourth patch of the set. So, reflecting on this patch, we feel like we're finally coming into quite good balance across the board. We have had a few Street Demon, sorry, just a little stronger than the other comps, but we are going to address that as along with other things, quite a few buffs, a few nerfs, but overall, after this patch, I think we'll be in a very good position for balance across the board. So remember to check the final patch notes for everything, but let's get started. Let's go ahead. So system changes, nothing. We're not adding anything right now. We're quite happy with how the hacks are. If anything does get changed, it might be percentages of how often you see something, but overall, I think we're quite happy and we're not planning to change that. So we're going to just get straight into traits. Amp, good early game, great late game, caps very well, but lacks in that kind of mid game. So when you find that Annie maybe, or yeah, when you find that Annie, so you have your 3-piece, you're just lacking a little bit. So with that, we've decided to add a power charge. So it's a nice little buff on that. You mill cast a bit more. Annie has an extra ticket. But with that, we're going to need to drop the HP. Just so that you're not too tanky and strong. You're strong, but a little weaker. Alright, and I'll still cap well with Samira. So we're going to keep a sharp eye on this. As we said, Amp got a little more popular towards the end of the patch, but it should be fine. But we'll keep a sharp eye on this. Anima, quite straightforward. We're just increasing the armor and the MR. Needs a little more tankiness. Bastion overall is getting a buff, and the units are also getting a buff. So hopefully with this, Anima is going to feel much better at 7. Then Bastion, as you can see, also and this is it's top once you have full Bastions in, armor and MR go from 70 to 75, so just a small one. Again, nothing huge, but just to help them. Cypher, a little more significant of a buff. So it's been wonderful to see people playing Cypher, good cash outs, people lose streaking with it. And then we're hoping this will give intention that when you're at your 4 and 5 piece, to keep those units in. So 70%, 50% going from 45 and 65. So 5% on both levels, and should feel much better. Hostile takeover should feel much better. So we're hoping this will give hostile takeover a little bit of love and appreciation. So you'll have variety. So now instead of just committing to lost streak, you're like, oh, hostile takeover, let's take it. You know? Divinicore early game was fine. Nothing wrong with it. And then late game, you just switch, maybe put in a Vex, have a Gragas, have a Morgana or a Rust. So great. Really love to see that. It's a great splash trait. But we would like to reward vertical Divinicore a bit more, so we're increasing it by 5, 10, 10 just at the end of it. So emblem's a little stronger now when you get higher up, and the scaling overall, you're going to get a little more, and we're not changing any of the values for the base, so we should see the return of Divinicore vertical here. This is the same with Dynamo. We found that the late game wasn't as strong. You weren't rewarded for playing for Dynamo, so it's the same when you play 2 Dynamo. We just felt it was a little weak, so we're reverting the change from, we went from 5 to 4, now we're going back to 4 to 5, so nice little buff there. And 11, when you have your Dynamo in, so Aurora, MF, will cast just a little sooner. It's very nice, should work well, and just so you have kind of a few more lines to play. But also without 1 extra mana on Dynamo, just when you do play, let's say MF Syndicate, you'll be able to just get a little more value out of that. So that should feel good. All right, moving on. We have Golden Ox. Golden Ox, we've seen Annie have success with Amp this patch. We've seen Aphelios have success with Marksman. What we haven't seen is them 2 plus Viego and go vertical. So we'd like to give more incentive for Golden Ox to be played vertical, so we're giving just a little bit more damage up. You know, so just 2%, 1%. So it's nothing bonkers, nothing crazy, but hopefully this will give just enough power to where you'll see Golden Ox. You'll be more likely to go into it. Now, Marksman, we've seen good performance, not so much in the end game. So the scaling will go up from 20 to 25. So its base AD you get stays the same, but you'll scale higher. So just towards your late game, you should be able to go against those higher count boards a little better. Nitro, similar thing where we're finding the cap, it's just not ending up high enough. So fine early mid game, when you hit your 3-star units, just a little buff, 7 chrome per star level, and there's a significant buff too than 4-starring. So worth the wait is going to be a lot better. Last patch, I felt if you got worth the wait, Nidalee or Shyvana or Kindred, it just didn't feel great. So we're changing that to reflect, so 13 extra star level. So in 4 turns you have 100 chrome. So I think that's should give it the strength it needs to really to make worth the wait feel a lot less bad when you hit one of these units, and then also the reroll feels better. So yeah, rapid fire feels fine. Sorry, that was itchy. Rapid fire feels fine. Should give it a slight little buff. Hopefully people like playing the 4 without an emblem, so maybe this will just help it, but yeah, nothing too crazy. It's performing exactly how we want it to. Now, Street Demon, on the other hand, a little too strong last patch. It's going from 15-17 was obviously a bit too big of a jump. The raw stats it gave you was just a bit too much, so we're dropping it down by 1. We're hoping 15 was a little too little, 17 was a bit too much, 15 should be the sweet spot, right? So a Goldilocks and 3 bears situation. And yes, so overall we're seeing Street Demon perform fine other than that. So hopefully this will balance out and let other comps shine through a little more. Yeah. So we have Techie. Techie, you'd play Veigar, Techie, 4 Techie, and then Cyberboss. So you're ending up running, the lower, which was fine. 20 and 50 AP is still great, but vertical Techie wasn't as rewarded. So we're just giving them a slight 5 on the last 6 and 8. So you should see some strength there. Nothing too crazy. Otherwise it would spiral, but hopefully this will point towards the right direction. No damage reduction, that shouldn't be in there, but nothing changes there. Vanguard, the base durability while shielded changes from 10 to 2, so slight little buff on early game Vanguards. They just felt a little weak. And then the 6-piece also didn't feel as strong as let's say Bruisers for a fact. So overall, just more durability, quite solid. Then the final trade change is Exotech. Flux Capacitor is getting 5% increase in AD. Zeri, hopefully you'll be playing Zeri again. Simple as. Moving on to champs. So this overall, some of these are reverted changes. I'll tell you which ones they are, but overall, we have a few nerfs, a few buffs that are gonna go towards underappreciated champions here. So Kog'Maw is one of them. Never really saw him on Boombot boards, so we're just giving him flat increase in AD and in his once he casts as well his bonus AD. So just a lot of damage. Hopefully this makes him very great for stage 1 and 2 and kind of just overall gives him that little power spike he needs, you know? So the whole team likes his little cute face, so we want everybody else to like him too. Skarner. Skarner is kind of in the same realm where he's a fine tank, but he doesn't really do any kind of damage and kind of gets a little forgotten. So what's happening now is his mana cost is just being bumped down, and then his missile defense damage is going to go up. So his cast, he's going to do more damage after cast, and he's going to cast maybe a little more often, one or two more casts per fight. So you're getting a bit more out of him. You're getting a bit more shielding. So hopefully it gives you more reason to play into Kog'Maw and Skarner. The Fury was outperforming herself in the Exotech and the Amp line. So especially with Spectral Cutlass or Pulsefire or Hyperfang. So there's still great items on her. The items are still good, but we're just bringing her power down throughout all of her levels. So her alpha damage goes down on each star level, and her scaling will also go down, so that she just doesn't feel too overwhelming. She could carry you pretty early and into the late game then. And Shyvana, we've just had that Nitro buff. We're giving Shyvana buff too, as Nitro also lacked a bit of front line, as well as Techie as a whole. So giving her an increase in mana and a decrease in mana cost. Wonderful, she'll cast sooner, and she might get an extra cast off. And as well as that, at 2 and 3, she just felt a little weak behind the other tank, so we're increasing her scaling quite a significant amount on 3. 2 just a little bit on 20%, but 40%. So Shyvana 3 now should be good. So hopefully try her out, see how it goes. So the two costs at the top, Veigar and Twisted Fate, I'm not going to go over them. That's reverted. We reverted on the A patch. So that's what they are currently. But just decided to have that there. So nothing actually changes with TF and Veigar. They're going to remain as they are. Illaoi, on the other hand, a little bit of armor and MR. Helps with Anima Squad, helps plus with the Bastion buff. So overall, quite good for Illaoi. Should be a viable tank. Because when was the last time you saw Illaoi 3? I haven't. Elise, again with Nitro, she's just decreasing her mana cost. So she's getting a slight buff. Hopefully she casts a bit more and you have a 3 cost that feels good for Nitro. So moving on, we have 4 and 5 costs. This is actually just 4 costs. The brand is also a change from the A patch. Well, the primary damage. The mana is changed. So he is getting a nerf on mana. He's getting 15 less starting mana. So it's going to take him an extra auto to cast, which we just felt like he was casting very early into the fight, and the potential to kill was quite high with the burst damage he has. And then the paint bomb primary damage, that was changed in the A patch, so he's not changing, his damage isn't changing. Zeri, With our flux capacitor change, Neferi debuff, and Zeri just gets a little bit of love. 0.05 attack speed. So she's going to feel much better. She's going to feel stronger. And we want you to pick her over Neferi, as she is the 4 cost usually, but you do you, you know? Whatever you feel makes you great, you do it. Misfortune. Again, 2 cost being more loved than the 4 cost on the vertical line. A bit ridiculous. So flat AD across the board, and the first bullet of each wave also increased damage. Should make MF, especially with the Dynamo buffs and the nerf that TF received last on the A patch, MF should feel a lot more viable now. And then, so champs for our last 2 4 costs and our last 5 costs, our only 5 costs actually, Vex is getting a nerf. We've seen Vex perform really, really well, and especially now that Divinicore Vertical is being buffed, we'd like to see Vex kind of just slightly. Her overhealing was a bit too much, so we're dropping it down by 30%. Still good, but not good enough to completely keep your bruiser frontline or whatever frontline you have forever alive. And then her damage is also going down by a little bit because it was just a little too much than we would have liked. So Nico, really great tank. I think everybody could agree. Overall feels quite great, but she does cast quite a bit. She'll get 3 to 4 casts off in a fight, maybe even 5, depending on what items you have on her. So she'll get a lot of casts. We're just gonna slightly nerf her, giving her 5 mana on her cast. Simple. Renekton definitely the most underappreciated 5 cost. You know, you have Samira with Amp and Street Demon doing well. You have Kobiko, especially after we changed him, doing really well now. And Argot performing with Boombot. Overall, yeah, you do have really good 5 costs. And Renekton just wasn't there, so he's getting reduced mana cost, more AoE damage, more max HP bonus, more second cast damage. It's just an overall buff, so Renekton can appreciate some time in the spotlight, hopefully. And if you run the Divinicore Vertical, he should be starting to perform. So that's our champs of this patch. Oh, sorry, one last champ. Kobiko. This is just clarification. I guess it's a buff for his 3 cost, so take that as you will, but it's a gain shield for 4 seconds. It's now 4/460, so yeah, little touch to Kobiko. Nothing too crazy. Just clarifying more than anything. So moving on, augments. Silver augments. Preparation. You just get 10 extra health. That's it. Going on to gold augments, this is a bit more significant, especially 10,000 IQ. So after rounds now, you will gain 8 gold. Just regardless if you guess correctly or not, you will just gain 8 gold. So yeah, you're guaranteed some gold out of the augment, so that if you keep guessing wrong, you're not going to get severely punished. Otherwise, this augment felt like you were not receiving anything. But if you guess correctly, you'll receive a complete item anvil and a Yumi. So we're hoping this makes people pick 10,000 IQ just a little more, and hopefully it should feel quite good now to pick this, especially with the 8 gold, because if you don't guess correctly, at least you have some money coming out. So Bronze for Life 1 is our next gold augment.
Just a slight little increase on damage amp. It didn't feel too bad, but we would like it to just feel a little more rewarding when you do pick it. So little more damage amp across the board. Nothing too complicated. Climb the Ladder 2, on the other hand, now with Street Demon and a few of the other vertical lines, we don't want it to get out of hand. So we've just given a tiny little nerf, one AP, 1 AD, and armor and magic resist just drop down. So nothing too crazy. But you know, you can now choose maybe a different augment if you were kind of not sure, but it's still a good augment, still strong, especially in those vertical traits. Just not completely overperforming. Flatline, with the buffs we've given Marksman with the scaling buff, the execute's going to go down just to keep it in check. Otherwise, even now it's slightly overperforming. I think we should. So we've decided to just nip it in the bud there. So 2%. That's it. Still a great execute. So wonderful. Glemify. After I mentioned it last patch, for some reason we've seen a significant increase in it and a lot of people using it. So it's a little too strong. So especially if you have no direction and you had a ton of 2 stars, 2 costs, it was just a bit too strong. So we're reducing it by 10% on attack damage and health. So it should still feel good, but we don't want it to be overwhelming, having this giant golem in the front line. High voltage. I feel like a lot of people didn't know about this, but high voltage was extremely powerful. Overperforming a lot more than most people would realize. So we need to reduce its damage by 10%. So it's still going to be great. Look, it's still shred the back line. It's just not going to do 25% more damage. So significant nerf to high voltage. Still a good augment. Still great for your AP comps. So, but as well, since AP comps were so strong last patch, this was even more so the case. So in augments, our second. So obviously a lot of augment changes here. Just to be aware of. No scout, no pivot. Very hard to take. But now we're hoping, 2 health, 0.5% in AP and AD. This should feel nice for rerolls now. So TF reroll, Vagar reroll, and anything else that really, Nitro now should feel a little stronger if you decide to take no scout, no pivot. So yeah, hoping that's towards the right direction. New high score no longer gives you attack speed. Just an unnecessary buff when it already gave you a Kobiko when you cashed it out and a few components in gold. So no longer gives you attack speed. Pair of 4s just felt like it was overperforming, so we're just dropping the health a little bit. Still strong, and only a pair of 4s, pair of 4 cost champs. Where you could run Vex +1, so you can still run Vex. Let's say Zeri or Vex and what's her name, Sejuani was great. So lots of health there, but just toning it down. Preparation 2, also getting a little bit of a buff. 35 to 45, and Spirit Link, that should be red, but it's a nerf. Spirit Link is getting a nerf. It was just a bit too strong. 6% is a lot, especially when you have 6 Bruiser in, and for example, Fiddlesticks of Bruiser Svad. It's just a bit too strong. It was a hard front line to kill, so we're toning it down and bringing it down to something we think is a lot more acceptable. All right, so that was the gold augments. We're going on to prismatic, just a few prismatic changes. Bronze for life 2. So we already went from 3.5 for bronze for life 1, and then bronze for life 3 is now getting the 4%. So just a bit more damage amp. Bulky buddies, very strong. We needed to bring down the health. So 30 less health should be significant enough. It's still 300 health across, 600 health between 2 units, and then on a board bait, that's a lot of extra health. To 2700 health, very significant. Hard commit now gives 3 gold. Now, because I am taking a break from all this TFT patches, I don't know if that actually is 3 gold on every time you get a unit, or just 3 gold from the start. But either or, it's a little buff, a little bit of extra gold, so can't complain about that. Shopping spree only gives 2 gold now. That's it, just a little less gold. Didn't need that much gold. And yeah, that was our prismatic augments. We're gonna finish with some items here. So mainly emblem changes, just so that they feel a little better, and then one specific item change. So Bastion emblem, bonus AP from Armor and MR going up by 10%. Should feel really nice now with any kind of AP carry. Let's say Viego will be a great holder for it now. So Dynamo emblem going from 1% to 1.5%. It's very fun on fast casting champs. Yumi uses it very well, and should be very, very nice, just getting that bit of extra damage amp. Marksman emblem just didn't feel like Marksman emblem, the damage armor reduction was as significant as it really felt like it should be, so we're just bumping it up by 1. Again, nothing too crazy, just something nice. Slayer increasing the healing received by 33%. If you're gonna have, Omnivamp, you might as well have a real Omnivamp. Simple as. Manazane, gutting it, killing it, crushing it, but only a little bit. Started off with 10 less mana, 5% less AD, 5% less attack speed. Pretty sure it's supposed to be AP, but that's okay. So yeah, we are essentially just making it weaker initially. Give a little less stats, still functions great, can cast, you'll still get many casts out, but a little too strong in cases. But yeah, bug fixes. There probably is a lot of bugs, but here, right? You figure out the bugs. You'll be fine. So yeah, disclaimer, guys. This is a parody, and for a little laugh. This patch notes are found by me by looking through the resources and seeing anything I could find. So if I got something wrong, I'm very sorry. Mort, thank you for the inspiration. I just wanted to have patch notes. I got very annoyed that there was no clear patch notes anywhere for now, so I decided, hey, why not make it and make a little silly joke out of it. I do appreciate it. So, but Mort is the inspiration here, guys. I think you can see with these slides. And yeah, overall, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this clear and concise PowerPoint with very clearly labeled things. Hopefully you got a good laugh, educated about next patch, get on that climb, because I sure as hell am trying. And yeah, this is my first time doing this. Look, feedback, something in the comments if you like this. Do you want me to do more? Do you want me to make a party patch again? I felt like I tried to be a lot like Mortdog there, but I don't know how it worked out. And yeah, just pleased to say, overall, good luck. Enjoy climbing. Peace.